And here we are. Welcome back to the Constitutionals. I'm your host, Chad White. This is the premier podcast for cpluscomedy.com, where there's a whole bunch of comedy stuffs. Let's pretend I didn't have to do this intro 3 different times. I didn't have to, but I wanted to, because this is the best one. Okay, so let's hop right into it. Last week was this San Diego Comic-Con. A whole bunch of things were announced, including there's a trailer for the Justice League. I think the second trailer that ever came out. Then we got some, Marvel stuff. They got some other comic book stuff. They got TV stuff. And it's just a wonderful time for everybody who enjoys comic books. No, mostly TV things. It used to be about comic books. Now it's just about, who knows? It's about stuff. It's about everything that's on television. Lifetime has a booth at Comic-Con for some reason. And then there's, other than comics, books, there's movies and TVs and TV shows. I mean, I should probably be specific about these type of things. But yeah, it's just annoying. It used to be about, what's going to be printed next and the collected stuffs, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. But you know what? A lot of good trailers came out. For some reason, I'm not a huge fan of Marvel stuff, but for some reason they won't release the trailer for their Infinity Wars, even though they're about to see it. Thor Ragnarok looks amazing. Looks just like an 80s movie with all the lighting and music and stuff. And Justice League looks epic, and excited for that. And then, there's Star Trek Discovery had a trailer. Didn't watch it. Who cares? I love Star Trek, though. It's great. It's way better than the other one that's about stars. Ready Player One. It had a trailer. Steven Spielberg's doing a movie. Now, if you didn't know, that book is by a guy named Ernest Cline, I believe his name. I'm reading his name right now. It is Ernest Cline. And I own the book. I own it in digital form, and I got it in a loot box when I had loot boxes. When I used to get loot boxes all the time, 3 months in a row. Loot box, loot box, loot box. That's exactly how many I got. But it's a book about a kid. It's a dystopian future book about a kid who lives in a place called the Stacks, and to escape his world, he basically becomes everybody has an avatar online, and they go to school online, they go buy things online, they travel different planets online, but everything's done online. And then in the real world, you're just a kid. In the book, he was a fat, pudgy kid that everybody would make fun of if he was in an 80s movie, but now he's just some kind of handsome white kid, skinny, and who could probably make his own way in that world if he really wanted to. Anyway, I don't like the book that much. The book I had to stop reading it because it was just a book that I hate nostalgia to a point. When you use it as a crutch, when it's a thing, when you're the person, when you're Disco Stew from The Simpsons, if you're Disco Stew, you're annoying. Nobody wants to talk to you. I genuinely hate things that just rely on nostalgia too much. And every other line in the book was, and this hair metal band was my favorite part of the TV show or movie Hawk or whatever, Lady Hawk or whatever, and Van Halen, and this thing that happened in the 80s, and this thing, and Gorbachev turned on that wall. It's just, it was just too much for me. So I do think it's a terrible book. I did not like it. Not many times do I stop reading a book, never plan on going back to it, and wish I could offload the digital version and the physical version that I have. And everybody's just so happy about this. Because they love living in nostalgia. That's why Star Wars is so popular. It's the same story every single movie, but people are just happy that it's still around. But God forbid General Zod gets killed with a neck snap, because that's too dark for DC. Anyway, let's go back to the topics at hand. We've got I'm going to talk about this TV show, Raven's Home. yeah, I'm doing it. Raven's Home, sequel television series to, because everything's in the rage now, being rebooted. Sequel television series to That's So Raven, about a psychic teenager, and now she's a psychic mom with 2 kids who are twins, living with her best friend Chelsea, who just got a divorce, fresh from a divorce, who also has a child. This is a very dark show, guys. They both I think both women were divorced from their husbands. I don't know. I'm all for women empowerment. They don't need to be divorced. I don't know what's going on there. They live in Chicago, live in a small Chicago apartment together, and they raise their children. And it's, you can't paint a cutesy picture over this dark storyline. Anyway, it was an all right. It reminded me just of the original series, the prequel series, the original series. This is a sequel. It's not a prequel. It's not a prequel series if the first show came out first. But I liked it. It was good enough. I'm not going to watch it again. It reminded me when Girl Meets World started 3 years ago. RIP, rest in peace. That show should not have been canceled. When Girl Meets World was brought back, it painted a picture of existentialism of these kids. These kids who are way too smart for their own good, who are trying to find themselves. Who almost every other line was, "We need to be me. We need to be me. We need to be who we are," and blah blah blah. And then, I can't like you right now, Riley. I'm 12 and I gotta grow up. It's weird things like that. But I really enjoyed that show. But too bad it got canceled. So Raven's Home is kind of like that, except it's oddly enough when they started the episode, you hear a narration of Raven's voice saying it was shot in front of an audience, in front of real crowds. That's weird. And then another weird thing is I assume, yeah, sure, there might be applause signs there, but whatever. But these kids were clapping for when Raven walked in the room, when Chelsea walked in the room, for too many things, for too many callbacks, for way too many things. They were just clapping. And I thought, you guys were too young for that show when it came out, because it ran for 4 years. It ended when I was young still. I am a young boy, but it ended when I was a younger baby boy. And I don't understand. You shouldn't have to clap. You shouldn't have to clap. You shouldn't be clapping for something you don't understand. I wouldn't, if All in the Family, if I was alive when All in the Family was still running, and then we went to the sequel series, Archie's Place. I say Archie's Place. I wouldn't be clapping when Archie came out to the thing. If I'm watching it now, I'm not gonna be if it's on the Hallmark Channel, I'm not gonna, oh my God, there's Archie, I'm gonna start clapping right now. I don't know, I find it strange. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna watch it again. Then we've got last week. I'm gonna skip one of the topics really quick. Vice fired 2% of its 2,000 people workforce, and they're gonna start increasing video production. They already have a crap ton of things they're doing. Let me name some things they're doing. They have a TV channel that took over for the Second History channel. They have the TV channel is called Vice. It's great. It's got all these documentaries, and it's got a bunch of shows about weed, which I could really do without. Could care less about that crap. So they've got that, and then they've got Waypoint, which is it's their gaming section that just started maybe 8 or 9 months ago, and that is being turned into a TV show on Disney XD, which I'll talk about in a second. And then they've got the website. Then they've got all the stuff they do for Noisy or Broadly or just all these different sections of Vice. They're already creating videos and documentaries. And then they're also, on top of that, they're also creating new stuff for the TV network, of course. But they're also airing their old documentaries. They're also ramping up production on stuff on HBO. They're doing the new show on HBO. They're doing their regular documentary series on HBO. And it's just insane how much Vice has really exploded, taken off in the past 3 years. It's amazing, all the work that they do. I really hand it to them. Could do it again. Like I said, could do without all the weed stuff. Cannot take you seriously. If CNN started talking about robots all the time, would not take them seriously. Stop talking about weed so much, guys. Anyway, really enjoyed it. Their Vice is cool. I don't know why they had to fire 60 people of 2,000, I guess, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, they're doing really well, and I'm happy for them. And also, what else I don't like about Vice is how they write in first person. Everything, it's fine if you write in essay format. I don't care about that. But if you write in first person and you say, I did this, and this is how it went, I can't take you seriously, because that's not, to me, that's not a real news way of writing. That's just saying, that's you writing on your blog. That's a good way to put it. They write like they're on their own blogs. Like, I saw a human trafficking ring, and this is how it made me feel. That's not news. That's not something that, for me personally, I just don't want to see. I don't want to see that type of writing. Just state your thing and then write. Don't say, I felt bad about seeing this television on the side of the road, or I ate 6,000 cookies and this is how I feel. That's BuzzFeed. start treating your work like the work, how serious it is. So anyway, that's just me. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Disney XD, I was talking earlier. I just checked my watch. We're doing really well on time, guys. I am just booking it through this. I'm going to waste precious seconds just booking it through this before we get to the main topic. But Disney XD has a new thing called DXP. All right, DXP is a new gaming block, and it's basically like Adult Swim for Cartoon Network. I don't know if I talked about this last week. Maybe I did. I don't listen to this crap. Neither do you. Anyway, and it lasts from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. And they have gaming related things. They have things from Polaris. They have Polaris is kind of, I don't know. And Polaris is a thing that just has a bunch of YouTubers that play video games. And then they've got things from IGN. They got things from The Attack, which is basically a sequel series to Attack of the Show, and that's on Twitch. And it's kind of like they're bringing G4 TV back, and I enjoy it so much. But also, speaking of Disney XD, also that's what News Time is about this week. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's pretty good because I do an homage to the Attack of the Show. So there you go. And speaking of Disney XD, Cartoon Network, I want to say this right now, have the worst release schedules for cartoons in the world. Last week, Adventure Time was on for 5 days, brand new episodes, but only one 11-minute episode per day, so 5 days. And also, the week prior to that, on Disney XD, Star vs. the Forces of Evil had a 3-hour movie. A 2-hour movie that was basically the third season. And it had, I would say, in those 2 hours, 16 new episodes or something like that. I am miscounting. It had 8 episodes. I just doubled it. It had 8 episodes that were brand new, basically, but they were putting into a movie format, the 2-hour format, and they all were interconnected. Blah blah blah. So my issue is, just make seasons of these shows and then put them out. Don't put them out. Don't make a batch and then put them out and then make another batch and then put them out. This is how you lose interest. Because I wouldn't have known about either of those had I not been setting up my recording schedule for the week for the DVR. If I hadn't been saying, oh, let me check out what's on just in case Cartoon Network has something on at 7 o'clock when I'm still at work. And then of course they did. They had Adventure Time. No one knew about it. I didn't know about it. I would, unless I frequent the Wikipedia pages, which I don't. Not anymore. Then it wouldn't. I wouldn't have known that there's going to be new shows. And I don't like this. I don't like how they do that because you miss episodes of Steven Universe because I really like that show. Gravity Falls. I missed a ton of episodes that way, so I had to watch them online. I don't like watching things online. I like to sit in front of a television, eyes peeled, 2 feet away, in front of a nice big screen in the dark, so I can go blind. And I know I'm an adult man who still watches cartoons, but sometimes I just want to watch them and stay on top of my shows. Adventure Time, I want to stay on top of. Gravity Falls is over. I want to stay on top of Steven Universe because I'm way too invested in these shows. Clarence, So anyway, just fix your release schedules, guys. Moving on. I'm starting this week to review Insecure. At the time of this recording, it is Monday morning because I'm not going to be able to record it Monday night during the Bachelorette. I got something to do, something very important, and it's not very. This is so stupid, Chad. And I'm gonna have to. I watched Insecure last night. I'm going to stay on top of that show for season 2 because again last week I was thinking after my rant about how it didn't get enough ratings, I should be the one to bring the ratings in, and the only reason I can do that, the only way I can do that, is by reviewing the show. If I review the show, then people are going to look up Insecure season 2 episode 1 and say, oh, that episode's called Hella Great. So they're going to say, oh, this is cool. Let's see if they have a review for it. Because if the AV Club doesn't review as many shows as they used to, kind of like IGN doesn't review as many games as they used to, because there's just no point. They're not worth clicking on every small indie title versus clicking by somebody wanting to read the review for Pretty Little Liars. There's only 20 people that don't want to read the review for Pretty Little Liars versus reading the review for Atlanta. And so that's why I'm doing Insecure, because people just forgot about it versus another show that's not marketed in the same way, that's written and created by another black person that's on a cable channel that everybody has, FX. So I'm going to review Insecure. It's a show about identity. It's a show about not fitting in. And guess what? Insecure doesn't have an identity on television. It doesn't fit in with the other shows that are created by people of similar caliber. So, yeah, I just want Issa Rae to get recognition. She better get a Golden Globe nomination. I swear on my life, she better get one. If she does, I'll be very happy. So, we'll be on the lookout for that. And the last thing I want to talk about, guys, I interview a lot of young comedians. And that's why I love doing the website. That's why I keep doing it. One of the main reasons I keep doing it is I have a portfolio. Interviewing the young comedians all the time. Sometimes I interview big comedians. Sometimes I interview Jen Kirkmans. Sometimes I interview Brooke Van Poppelins. She's a host on a TV show called Hack My Life that is also co-hosted with Kevin Pereira, who also owns The Attack. Circular, guys. Full circle. Anyway, but then there's times when I interview somebody who's only done stand-up, who's only been on TV 2 times, and it wasn't there were extras. They weren't a starring faction, sometimes they are putting out an album, sometimes they're promoting a web series, sometimes they're putting out a Comedy Central half hour, and it's great. I'm happy for them. I'm happy that their representations reached out to me. I'm happy that they said yes to an interview. I'm happy that I'm able to do this. But if I'm talking to you comedians, young comedians, and I know how many subscribers there are, and there's not that many, and I'm pretty sure at least one of you is a young comedian. It's so stupid. I hate my life. And if we set up a time to sit down, have a chat, I just need to do a few things for me. A, be ready to pick up the phone, because if we set up for 1:00, I'm calling at 1:00. B, be interesting. Just be interesting. Also be yourself. Okay. 3, don't answer me with one-word answers, okay? If I go on this long diatribe where I say something along the lines of, you've been on TV for a while, and now you're heading to the festival circuit. What's it like doing Montreal versus a festival in America? Don't go, yeah, festivals are great, and then that be the answer. Don't waste my time. It makes me so angry when I carve out a time, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. We have a 10, 15 minute window. I carve out this time to talk to a comedian, and they're sitting there answering me with 1 or 2 words. And the questions generally aren't like that. But if we're doing this, I need you to give me something to work with, because this is not, the way I pride myself on doing my interviews in the way that Pete Holmes does his on You Made It Weird, even though he has about 10 times the time that I have, versus I have 10 minutes, he has 100 minutes. If I'm doing, or Chris Hardwick, or, it's just the conversational aspect of that stuff, or Jimmy Pardo, it's just a whole bunch of people just that I emulate after. And if I'm sitting here with my phone and this recorder next to my phone, and I have a list of 5 or 6, it's mostly 5 or 6. I don't even have that many topics because I want it to be conversational. I want it to be haphazard. If I'm sitting here with all this stuff, be ready, be prepared. If I go on a long 20-second long question that I'm asking you, and I'm leading you, I'm generally holding your hand to this, to get to the answer that I want to hear, the long answer of why you got in a comedy, or why you made that joke, or why you decided to shoot your web series in this way, or why you decided to write for that TV show. Give me something to work with. It's so easy because I'm sitting here right now talking into a microphone with some headphones on, and I'm looking at the time, and I've been talking for 19 minutes and 28 seconds. That's all you have to do, is just get out there and just have something to say. Don't, yeah, okay, oh yeah, right, cool, yeah, thanks. No, get in there, get ready, and say, I'm going to give the best, just don't treat it like an interview. Say, I'm going to have the best conversation with my new best friend that I'm ever going to have. It's that easy. It's so simple, but it's so frustrating at the same time. Because it's difficult I understand it's hard. I understand you're a comedian. I was about to say we're comedians. I'm nowhere near a comedian, but you're a comedian. you're able to go up on stage, make a fool of yourself, and then move on from that point. But when it comes to actually having a conversation, then it's a little bit difficult for most people. And so I'm just saying, give me something I can work with. Let's make it happen. Let's be fun. Let's just have a good time. We have 15 minutes. This is how it usually goes. Pick up the phone. I call. They go, hey. I go, is this Mark Evan Jackson? I don't know why I said him. I would never interview him. He's too big for me. But is this Mark Evan Jackson? And plus, it's a guy that no one knows by name. They only know him by voice or face. Is this Mark Evan Jackson? And he goes, yes, Chad. This is my Mark Evan Jackson impersonation. Yes, it's me. May I ask who's calling? Oh, this is Chad White with C+ Comedy. How you doing? That's the only time I'll ever ask how you doing in life. I don't care about you otherwise. And they'll go, oh, I'm well. And yourself? And I go, I'm well too. Grammatically correct. Thank you, sir. So I'm here to just talk about this. We're here to talk about your new sketch series on IFC. Great, cool. And then I'll just lead it into. I typically, if I feel that I get a cold reception in the beginning, I'm just gonna ask a question right off the bat. But if I don't, then I'll have, I'd say, oh, what are you up to today? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. Is that how you got into? Did you really get into voice acting in Los Angeles? Like, no, I started in New York, and it's that simple. It's just that simple. It's just a conversation between two friends who haven't met in person. They're talking over the phone, and this is their first time talking over the phone. They never communicated. Their other friends, their managers, their agents, they talk to them first. Dude, they talk to them first. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. That's all I want. Just be nice, be personable. So that's all we got for this week's episode of The Constitutionals. Hey, guess what, guys? There's a website. Go there, cpluscomedy.com, for all the news, reviews, features, interviews, like I just talked about, and all the other good comedy bits that only I can provide you with. You can also follow us on Twitter, @cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter, @ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook, tumble with us on Tumblr, and head to youtube.com/cpluscomedy to get a whole swath of videos. Guys, News Time 150 is coming up. Okay? And the 10 of you that are subscribing to this podcast, I need you to go and watch News Time 148, 149, and 150. 148 is out at the time right now of this week that I'm recording this. So you can go ahead, check it out. It's a good series, good show. Love it. Check out the other series on comedy. It's a documentary series. I'll make new episodes, I promise. I already have 2 scripts. I just need 4 more, okay? Or at least 1 more, and then I'll make 3. All right, great. We got some new shows coming for you later on. next month. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. Okay. Bye.